For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise. And you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here on The Scribble. I got to tell you, our celebrity interviews are very popular on this show, but what's really taking off, you people, you listeners out there, we appreciate your support and your feedback, your comments, your thoughts. You guys love when our producer, Bonnie Winters, joins me and we have a lively debate and discussion. So you know what? We brought her back again. Bonnie Winters is going to be discussing cancel culture. Is it enough to ruin someone's life and career because they had an opinion? We're not talking about their conduct. We're not talking about them doing something, physically harming a person, rape, things like that. We're talking just having an opinion. And also, are workplace dress codes a little too strict? Is a dress code a thing of the past? We're going to be discussing that on The Scribble, and it starts right after this.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
Back by popular demand, Bonnie Winters is joining us on the line. Hello, Bonnie.
I thought we were done here.
Long time. Oh, just some behind-the-scenes notes for everybody. We actually just taped one of our shows, and there was more to talk about, so I said, hold on, Bon, we'll keep you for a couple more minutes. So thanks for joining us again, Bonnie.
Oh, lucky me.
Yes. Okay, how's it going today? What are you drinking with us?
I'm still on the coffee. Like it's a big coffee time for me these days, just to kind of keep going.
We talked about Facebook and social media posts on the last episode of the show. There was a post that I just saw moments ago that I want your opinion on. Now, I don't want your opinion on the actual content. I want your opinion on the intent. Keep that in mind, Bon, okay?
Okay.
Not the content, not what the person is saying, but the intent of what they're trying to do. It's a long post, okay. Everybody stick with me. Here we go. It says, you lose your job, your home, and even worse, your children. It's beyond comprehension what people are willing to give away to be in La La Land. A huge circle of people are impacted hard. That being said, no one starts doing drugs thinking, boy, it's going to be great when drugs take over my life. And yet there are many who find themselves imprisoned. No one thinks they're going to be the drug addict. Today more than ever, I want the healing of addiction. There's a personal reason for asking everyone to put this message on their status for at least 1 hour. I know who will do it. Think of someone you love who has had an addiction or who is trying to fight this evil. I hope to see this on the status of all my friends. Don't share, but copy and paste. And so somebody ended up responding to that. Actually, no, Bonnie, go ahead. Tell me what you think of somebody posting that and soliciting participation.
I never repost those things.
Why?
Ever.
Why?
I just don't. First of all, I'm never sure if it's a legit thing, so I don't want to pass it around, unless I know the person or I know someone who knows them very well and I have an idea of what the agenda is here. I just don't repost that kind of stuff.
Okay, so she actually agrees with the person who responded to this post. Now, again, we see these all the time. We saw it a lot around Christmas when people were feeling, isolated and what have you because of Corona. So somebody commented or responded to the post by saying, and now the grammar is bad, so I'm just going to read it as it's written. This is pointless. This awareness is bullshit attention grab and self-reward for doing nothing. People need to go out in the public, go to treatment centers, help be an ear, give advice. Tell your story. Copy and paste does absolutely nothing but create a negative energy of addiction awareness. Hey, look, it's out there, beware, but no one take action. Facebook is the ultimate talk the talk, but don't walk the walk. This is only a thought and not directed at you in any way. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think I do. Yes.
And it's interesting because at first when I would see these things pop up, and I've seen it for a couple years now, I would almost kind of go and say, all right, somebody's using the platform, right? They're getting on the soapbox. They're showing. But when I see this whole like copy and paste, or when people were posting like those black squares, and same thing even with Pride Month, you could pride your picture, whatever it is. So you've got a rainbow flag sort of filter over your picture. I've never done any of those things because for me, and also somebody who's a public personality in the newspaper, on the radio, whatever, I can't support every single cause that comes to me. I applaud the people who want to maybe express themselves and say, you know what, addiction is hard. I get it. I've been there. I'm with you. If you need help, message me and we can do this privately and I can help you out. Absolutely. Go for that. I mean, why not? But yeah, exactly. this whole, we talked last time about rallying the troops and trying to, and I've seen that. I've been a victim of that. Somebody going and saying, you didn't post this hashtag that day, so you must be anti whatever. And it's like, what? Like, so just by not doing something, I'm suddenly, anti it. Like, it's very bizarre how we have. Now, it actually leads to another discussion point, this whole cancel culture thing. As we talked about, Bonnie, something like misconduct. So, Harvey Weinstein raping women, Bill Cosby drugging women. Cancel culture, I feel, is appropriate then, no matter how long ago that was.
Yeah. Oh, that's just terrible stuff.
Sure.
Right.
Now we're seeing, though, people are getting canceled because of an opinion they had. So I'm talking about Chris Harrison. People who watch The Bachelor know that he stepped down because he had an unfavorable opinion. And it was towards the black culture. He made some people can look up the story. We don't have time to go into it. I think Chris had a point to go and say, maybe he didn't articulate it the best, but I think he had a point to say that 5 years ago, that wouldn't have caused chaos to ensue. But now people are so focused in on the topics of racism and equality and all that stuff, and I totally agree that it should be spotlighted every now and then. People, like, when you think about CNN hosts or cable news, I mean, half of the beginning of their show is them giving an opinion.
Oh, it's, well, and another thing to take into account here, JB, have you noticed that since the pandemic started, anything to do with that type of thing is intensified now? Like, it's really, really intensified. It's unbelievable. And the things that people say, it's like this whole year has just brought out the absolute worst in some people. I mean, we've seen a lot of good too, but it's bizarre how people will just throw anything out there. It's like anything goes now. But we've too much time on their hands. I don't know.
We've had a few discussions about this on the show in the past where, I've written a commentary, which again, it's my job. And I'm paid to have an opinion.
Exactly. And I don't even think people, there's a whole group of people nowadays who don't even know what the word debate means. Like, there is no two sides to every story for a lot of people nowadays, which is really sad. And, we're going to get really reamed out by people just talking about this, I'm sure.
Well, but that's the thing. Okay, so I know that you're not familiar with the Chris Harrison story. So aside from that, we're talking about just in general. For having an opinion, for him just saying something. He didn't use the N-word. There was nothing about that. He was just clumsy in his explanation. He was sharing an opinion, and he was brought down for he's done as host of the show for the time being, just for having an opinion.
Yes.
That's so bizarre. Now, I feel, and again, we're allowed to have an opinion, which is why I always have to preface it. We have to give this disclaimer all the time. In my opinion, I feel. It's my, because I'm thinking that, and just like the country music singer, I think that you're almost pressured into making that apology because it's expected of you.
Oh, I know. Yes, it's a preface to everything nowadays.
And so in the instance of Chris Harrison, he felt the backlash. He saw the comments on Twitter and Instagram and message boards or whatever it was. He was pressured into apologizing. To me, it's kind of like, well, his opinion was his opinion. I don't believe, now I've seen some of the previous cast members of Bachelor and Bachelorette say that he should go through sensitivity training and he should connect with the NAACP and other black groups and things. I don't think that he was racist for having an opinion about something. Again, clumsy in the way he articulated it, absolutely. But to go and like bring down his career because he went and said, you know what, 5 years ago it wouldn't have been a big racial deal. Today it is. But there's almost a sense of reality to what he was saying. I get what he's saying. Again, not defending his stance, his opinion, but his remarks, it's kind of like, well, he's making a point. That 5 years ago, no, it wasn't okay to do it, but it was passable. If he would have just said something like that, he got tripped up on saying, well, it was fine 5 years ago. I don't think that's what he meant.
Yeah, exactly.
And I can't stand him, and I think I said that on the show the other week. I am not a Chris Harrison defender. Let me just be clear on that.
No.
But yeah, it is a little bit strange to think. Now, quickly before we've got to take a break, something else that I think is over is email. Bon, you remember we talked about this previously. We worked together at a publishing company. We had email at the time. But do you remember coming into the office? If your red voicemail light was blinking, you felt important in the morning, didn't you?
Well, sometimes I wanted to hide from it. I wouldn't know that it felt all that important because there was usually so many emails to go through, right?
But I'm talking voice. I'm saying, but back because at the time email wasn't as pop. Most people were apt to call you in that industry that we were in publishing.
Well, true. Yes.
So now you're jumping ahead. But yes, 5-10 years later, absolutely, I dreaded opening the email. I still dread opening the email box. I don't understand how people can wake up in the morning and log into whether it's their Facebook inbox or whatever it is. I need to wake up. I can't. My phone isn't beside the bed. I've talked about that. I don't sleep with my phone. But I'm up for a good 20 minutes, half hour before I even grab my phone. I don't need that right in my face to start the day. Is email over, Bonnie Winters?
Well, no, I don't think so. There's still those things that need to be transmitted by email. And no, I don't think it's the end of the email era yet.
It's interesting to read these stories. You see them in business magazines or websites and things like that, how people are giving email etiquette and things like that, and how it should be, you don't always have to write hello when you reply. If you say hello on your first email, you don't always need to do it. What bothers you about people sending email? I don't like being CC'd with a million other people who aren't part of the conversation.
I just don't like always being sent jokes in emails, some of them are pretty dumb.
I remember
Don't send jokes to me in emails, like,
do you remember that?
Joke.
Anytime, my dad was very late getting on email, but anytime I would see his name come up in my inbox and then see FWD forward, I would always just delete. I'm not even looking at it, Dad. Not even looking.
Exactly. And it's been forwarded like how many times? No, but I would actually go, like when you were talking about the red light blinking, I would just let it blink.
Yeah.
And I would go to my email first, and I'd go through all my emails before I even went to my voicemail. I didn't want to hear people's voices first thing in the morning. I had to have my coffee first.
Well, I think it also sort of ties into what we were saying, is that if it was important enough, people were calling you back in the day. So you have a point.
Sure.
You have a point there too. If it was big enough for them to dial you and leave whatever message, however long it might be, that's an indication that it's something important. The email, was sort of trivial at the time, I think. Again, we're going 15 years since we worked together at that place, but
Gosh, it's been that long.
I think so. Yeah, and Bonnie was in the publishing industry when they were still putting it on tablets. They were doing it on, and not the one that you scroll your finger. These are actual. Fred and Barney were, anyway. So,
Oh, you liar.
let's shift gears. Oh, you know, Bon, we don't even have time to shift gears. We're going to... Yes. Oh, we do have time to shift gears. Thank you, Tim. We've got a few more minutes here. Let's talk about work policy, dress code policies, work policies. Let's actually get serious here, Bonnie, for a second. Most workplaces, not ours, most workplaces have a dress code when it comes to wearing, you know, a hoodie, a hat, things like that. Should a company's dress policy change for a cancer patient?
Oh, well, gee, that's an interesting question.
Give it
Why
some.
not?
Give it some. Okay, we've got to take a break. We give it some thought. Wow, we do have to take a break. We'll be right back. Bond's going to answer that question when we come back.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
Bonnie Winters joining us again on the show. We kind of left on a heavy note. You've had a couple seconds to think about it, Bon. So the question is, should a dress code or a hat policy be extended or excused for a cancer patient in the workplace?
Absolutely. You do everything possible to make a person feel better if they're going through such a traumatic disease. Absolutely.
So why not everybody wear a hat then?
It's not necessary for everybody to.
I'm going to play devil's advocate. I'm not saying there's a right or wrong answer to this, but why is it necessary for a cancer patient to?
Well, depending on what exactly they're going through, what treatment they've been taking.
Why?
They just... What's that?
Why? What does it matter? A hat is a hat.
Well, you're not making this very easy, are you?
Hey, we've talked about... Every time we're on, Bonnie, we talk about healthy debate, and most of the time we side with each other. I'm going to put you on the spot. Why? A hat is a hat. The rule is the rule.
Fine, wear a hat. No, but I mean, if it is the rule that you don't wear a hat at your desk, I don't know. Do we ever have a rule like that? Maybe there are companies that do that. I mean, some people like to wear a hat as part of an outfit, and maybe they're allowed in some companies. But otherwise, no. Someone has lost their hair and they want to wear a hat. They feel better wearing a hat. But
wait a second. No, I feel better wearing shorts. I don't like wearing pants. So there you go.
Oh, tough. Dress code. A lot of places still have a dress code. So follow the dress code. But if you have a situation where you're going through a very traumatic disease, I think these things should be considered. I really do. Just on an emotional level for that person, a healing level. And, if people can't deal with that, well, suck it up, buttercup.
And the interesting thing is that I would think this is a likely debate in workplaces because there's that term snowflakes, right? These are people who are so delicate. Everything has to be just fair and equal. And I mean, but when you look at it that way, right? Equality, we were just talking about that previously. The rules, when it comes to racism and discrimination and things like that, is it black and white? Oh, no pun intended on that one, but, is the rule the rule?
You're asking me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, like I said, I think in some instances you have to bend the rules if you want to be a human being, a caring, compassionate human being. And sometimes not everybody is going to be under the same ruling, and you're just going to have to live with it.
But human beings made the ruling.
You know what? Sometimes you have to think of other people instead of just focusing on yourself all the time. Let's put it that way.
Wow, everybody. Look at, she's taking a
You
tone.
like it?
She's taking a tone on this one. But let's talk about it. So in the grand scheme of things, dress codes. Now, again, I wrote a newspaper column about this quite some time ago. It was called something to the effect of update your dress code or lose the younger workforce. Because going back to what we were just talking about is that I have no interest. I mean, if I'm a writer, if I'm a broadcaster, I'm in like an enclosed booth. The public is not seeing me. I'm not, if I was at a customer service job at the counter, you know, greeting people, ringing people through the cash register or something, okay, I can understand having a dress code where I've got to wear a smock or a company shirt or something like that. But I think that in today's world, the younger generation, they don't want to be told that it's business casual. Well, what does that mean to a millennial or one of these snowflakes? To me, if I'm comfortable wearing jeans or whatever it is, and I'm going to be sitting in the back of a building somewhere, if I'm going to be dressing comfortable, I'm likely to probably work harder and get right down to work when I come in. Do you know what I'm saying? If I feel uncomfortable, I'm uptight because I've got to wear a suit or a jacket or a tie or whatever it is just to be a writer, I don't know. I think the companies do need to look into dress codes, period. I'm not saying a hat policy. I'm just saying in general. What are your thoughts?
I think if a company wants to project a certain standard and look good and have their clients think of them on a whole different level than the average business place, I think the owner should go for it. And anybody who doesn't like it has the option of handing in their resignation, walking out the door, and finding somewhere else to work where they'll be happy.
I think back to when we, again, referencing this publishing company that we were both at 15 years ago, I remember the very first week when I started there, that there was an email sent out saying that the president of the company is allowing people to wear jeans because the weather is just so cold out. Now, again, when you think of the layout of that building, Bonnie and I were at the back of the building. We absolutely never saw clients. We didn't have webcams and things like that back in the day, and our clients necessarily weren't even in the same city as us. We weren't near the salespeople who were out. Maybe they had clients coming in, right? Maybe they had meetings. Maybe they were in and out. I can understand them having to dress up. We were editors at the back of a building, but we still had a dress code, and we basically kept to ourselves. We actually kind of had our own section of the building. We weren't in amongst other people. We weren't in cubicles. We all had our own office. We had a door, you know, and I just remember going and seeing that and go, oh, I can wear jeans. Well, I don't know why I wouldn't have been able to wear jeans. I mean, again, it was my first day or first week there, but to me, it just struck me odd. I'm going to be locked away in the back of a building, not seeing the rest of the world, but I have to dress up.
Well, you got to stop and think, though. There was the odd time when we did have a meeting in the main area, and the odd time when we did have to wander into the sales area, and frequently we had to go into the graphic arts area. And if there were any clients coming in from other countries or provinces or cities or whatever, we could run into them very easily, and occasionally we did. So I think it was a good thing that we were dressing appropriately.
I always had a good time. I had a good time with Bonnie's office. I always used your window for a fun thing. I remember putting the for rent sign in your window when you were going on vacation.
Yeah, that was very nice of you. Thank
And
you.
then, do you remember? And then I put something very large in your window one time.
I never saw a dime of that rent either.
And then, do you remember? I sent you a video not too long ago. And then I put something in your window one time, a very, very large poster. Do you remember?
not even going to dialogue with
It
you
was
on that.
it was a giant poster of me, everybody. I put a giant poster of me in her window, but yeah, no, I think the dress codes, especially, you look at how these companies are hiring and they're trying to entice people with the fun workplace, right? We've got arcade games, we play games, we have beer on tap. We were the kind of people who we got in there. We were there to do the job and get the hell out. I wasn't there to make friends. I wasn't there to socialize. And I guess the plan of attack with these HR departments now is to try and make people want to come into work. And I just think that if you've got to, I don't know if the word is placate or bend just to impress these, like back in the day, as the job seeker, I was the one who was trying to impress the employer. Now it seems like the tables have turned, where it's the employer going and saying, you want to work for us because we're fun. It was never like that back in the day.
That's true. That's true. Although we did have a good time on the trampoline.
Yeah, we did. We had a trampoline. There was a basketball net. We had a trampoline. And then we had wine in my office on Fridays. I remember that.
Oh, occasionally, yes.
Bonnie would bring in homemade. Do you remember the hiding place for the wine in my office?
I do.
Where?
Well, I'm not telling you.
Oh, but you're not going to tell me where it was in my office. Let's just stop this because she doesn't know. That's the thing. She does not know, everybody.
Dude.
Where was it?
Bottom left-hand drawer.
No. That was the food. I'm talking the wine. The wine, remember, was between the desk and the wall.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah, the bottom left-hand drawer. That was the food.
That was the snacks. And we'll post those pictures for everybody to see Bonnie eating the Triscuits and M&Ms. That was the homemade wine we used that homemade wine to take the paint off one of the walls, if I'm not mistaken, too.
Yes, we did actually one day. Mm-hmm.
All right. Switching gears, how young is too young for cosmetic surgery, Bonnie?
Don't even go there. It's au naturel all the way.
I'm not saying you. I'm saying in general. We've got 2.5 minutes, Bonnie. Cosmetic surgery.
No, never.
A teenager is looking and wants to have lip injections or wants to.
No, never. Unless it's actually, something that has happened to you, or you do have a disfigurement that you would like to take care of, or whatever. But I mean, otherwise.
Well, it goes back to the hat. Well, it goes back to the hat policy. How can it be okay for some, not okay for others, Bon?
Well, there are limits here. No, really, why would you want to go and have cosmetic surgery when it's really an invasive thing to do? That's how I look at it. I don't care if I sag here and there or have wrinkles or whatever, and if anybody else doesn't like it, well, that's their problem.
Well, we're going to get your husband on the phone here.
Oh, no, we're not. Oh, no, don't go there.
But here's the deal. Oh, go ahead. Love to hear.
He'd probably remake me from head to toe if he...
Mike?
No. No, he's pretty good. He's pretty good. He accepts me the way I am.
So, well, because he likes to eat. That's the thing. I mean, he's got to...
Exactly. You got it, yes.
Nobody's going to feed him otherwise.
Be good or no more homemade breads for you.
But this is interesting because, again, it sort of goes back to that. Is that a double standard, though? So if wearing a hat in an office would make somebody feel better, well, maybe somebody doesn't have big boobies, and that's going to make them feel better. So what's the line of measurement here?
Oh, well, boo-hoo. There's always going to be a double standard somewhere.
We've got 30 seconds, Bonnet.
That's life. I mean, it's just life. Sometimes you just have to roll with it. And if there's injustices, you do your best to address them, and yeah.
15.
I mean, life isn't perfect, right?
We got to go. 10 seconds left. At what age should a child know their national anthem?
Oh, well, you start teaching them that one when you're singing nursery songs to them. Yeah, they should know the anthem right away.
So is that a parent or teacher responsibility?
Oh, parent, for sure.
Because that doesn't fall under reading, writing, or arithmetic?
Well, it's singing.
So choir is a parent's responsibility, everybody. There you go. All right, Bon, we're out of time. We got to go. We'll be right back, everybody.
Oh, I thought we'd never end this.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com.
Jeremy Bradley on the Scribble. We're out of time. My thanks to Bonnie Winters for joining us. And again, feel free to email me anytime live at jbonair.com. Live at jbonair.com. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye for now.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.
If you want some real heat,